Welcome to draft season. It is wide receiver day here at Objectively Wrong, presented by the Next Man Up. As always, I'm John. That's Abteen. And we told you last week we're going to do some off, or last episode. I don't even know what week it's going to be when this comes out. But
this weekend,
I guess.
Yeah.
The start of the timer. We learned something this week. First of all, we told you guys last episode that we were going to start on offense, then go defense, and then go to the quarterbacks. We're doing that. But we're starting, I think I meant to mention running backs. I lied. We're starting with wide receivers. And the reason we're starting with wide receivers is because we had heard rumors and rumblings that this was a very deep receiver class as far as, you know, from the top to the bottom, there's a lot of really solid receiver talent, top to bottom. That we kind of agree with.
We have opinions.
We have so many opinions. And it's bizarre how nuanced, I think, an episode purely predicated off of one position group has already made us want to rip our hair out.
Let's do this. Give me 5 words to describe how you feel about this wide receiver class.
Okay. Deep. Definitely deep. Small. And then, honestly, my last 3 words are quantity over quality.
Mine are quite literally, do not draft first round.
That's not a bad 5 words. Yeah, it's funny. We've been seeing the reporting and all the pundits, whatever, talk about like, you know, this is a really good draft class. It lacks top end talent, but it's really got some incredible depth. That's fine. That's on its face, not incorrect. It's not a lie. I detect no lies. But
it's like a lie of omission.
There really is no top end receiver.
Oh my God, guys, it's bad.
I don't know if it's even bad. I mean, here's my thing. If you need a WR1, look elsewhere. Don't come to this draft. There's one guy. Our WR1 and like kind of our WR3.
Yeah.
This is what's weird. Our 1 and our 3 have like prototypical traits that you would be like, okay, they could maybe be a WR1. But what was odd watching this draft, watching this film, and Abteen and I have a disagreement at number 5, but Abteen is unhappy with one player. I'm not, but and we'll discuss that. But what I found funny, and I think I saw this, is that if you look league-wide right now,
yeah,
all 32 teams, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3, have at least one receiver objectively better than this class. Where, as in, you could pluck them as a rookie, put them into this class, and they would be WR1 in this class. Philly has one. Dallas has one. Philly has 2. Miami has 2. Minnesota has 1. Green Bay, I would still take Watson, I think, over most of this crop. The Raiders have 1.5, probably Renfro. I'm not sure, but probably Renfro. Tampa has at least 2. Chargers have 2. Rams have 2. Even Robinson, I would take him over this. I might take Van Jefferson over this.
You know, Titans don't have any.
Burks. I don't know. That's what I said. So what was funny is when I said almost every team, I was thinking of Tennessee.
Yeah.
As the almost.
The Colts don't have one.
Pittman's probably better than this class.
No, he's not.
I don't know. I don't love the top of this class. What's funny, you know what's really funny, and this is where we'll get into it. We'll start talking about the ranking. We're gonna mention 12 wide receivers today. really 11.
Yeah.
The 12th one we'll do like that. But and you know who I'm talking about. But what's funny is making a top 5 of this crop almost feels insincere because there isn't a top 5. There's not even a top 2. I think there's one guy that's probably better than the rest. But what was funny is that when we initially watched this tape, we were like, I hope this isn't the best guy.
Oh, we hated the tape.
And for a bit, he wasn't the top guy. And then he went back to the top because we watched the tape again in comparison to the rest of the class. I was like, oh, crap. He actually is based off of everybody else. And there were, some things beyond this player's control that we decided to mark as okay, but.
Oh, can I talk about that?
We can when we get there.
You want me to wait? Okay.
When we get there. I don't want to give
proclamation.
I don't want to give away the top of the table yet.
Okay.
I think we'll probably start from the top though, right?
Yeah, we have.
I think for this position, we have to go from top to bottom. And because but real quick, I do want to wipe one dude off the map real quick. There's 2 players I want to just knock out.
Okay.
Because if we can, and it's number 7 and number 12 on our list currently.
Okay.
And for those that are thinking those are rankings, they're not.
They're not, yeah.
Number 7 and number 12, I want to knock out quickly. 12, obviously, for reasons that we just don't need to discuss him. And 7, because of Todd McShay. Okay, so the first guy I'm going to knock out is Kansas State's Malik Knowles. And this is not a wide receiver. Like I don't care. This is not a wide receiver. This is a kick returner or a punt returner, and that's it.
Honestly, though, he's good at it. Like we're not saying don't draft.
Perfectly fine. Yeah. Perfectly fine. But if you draft him in the first 4 rounds, you're dumb. This player is capable, but that's it.
Malik Knowles out of Kansas State.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, did you say Kansas State? I didn't hear it. Sorry.
I said Kansas State.
Okay.
Malik Knowles, Kansas State.
We watched tape on around 16 to 18 guys.
Yep. A lot of it too.
We cut this down to 12 people who are even worth mentioning. And of all of them, Malik Knowles is so very clearly the special teamer of the group.
Probably the best teamer of the group.
Yeah.
With the exception of maybe one other guy on here, but that other guy also there's something there on the offense.
Yeah.
So we'll discuss him there. And it's 10 is who I'm talking about. But because I think he also had 3 kick return punt return touchdowns. But Knowles was one of the last guys we looked at, and at that point we had a frame of reference. No, this is not. And who knows? There might be players we didn't look at that are better. There might be on offense. I'll throw some honorables as far as one guy we looked at briefly that we did not rank, Michael Wilson out of Stanford.
Kids, yeah.
Yeah, we looked at the Stanford kid, Michael Wilson. We also looked at do you want to mention the other Tennessee receiver?
Do you want me to go off?
Yeah, there's a second. I forget his last name. It was Cedric what?
Cedric Tillman.
Yeah, Cedric Tillman is not good.
No.
Like he's not on the list. We're not discussing him today. We did not like the tape. Ebteen's entire analysis was this player looks like an NPC. And for those that are not gamers, an NPC stands for non-playable character. It's just some guy that gives you quests or just walks around the town and says nothing. I feel like that's insanely insulting, but there's nothing on the tape. There's nothing on the tape that makes me think, okay, this player needs to be picked. We could be wrong, of course. I'm stuttering a lot right now. We could be wrong, but I disclaim that with every player. Of course we could be wrong. Nobody's perfect in this analysis practice, but I don't think we are. I'm fairly confident we're not. So yeah, that's him and Knowles and Wilson. They were kind of no, but of those 3, Knowles is the one with probably the most upside as a return man. And then I want to knock out Kayshon Boutte from LSU.
Oh, you mean the other NPC?
Quickly. Kayshon Boutte mid-season or something, he was Todd McShay's 16th ranked player.
Yeah.
Not receiver, player. Todd McShay's out of his mind.
What is he at now? Let me check.
I don't know. But while you find that, he has a drop rate of almost 14%.
Embarrassing.
That almost disqualifies you. That's on its own disqualifying, because drop problems don't get better in the NFL. They just don't. Now, I can already hear that we're going to be called hypocrites for what we're going to do with another receiver later on in this show. But
it's worse with Booty.
There's a difference with the other player. But
and the worst part about Keyshawn Boutte,
I believe it's Boutte. Yeah,
is it Boutte?
I believe so.
The worst part is he was dropping the easy passes. Like the slants were drops. What are we doing here?
Wait, real quick. Did you see what Tom Brady just did?
Oh, you mean buy some of the WNBA team Las
Vegas?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Mark Davis got his guy, dude.
Don't do it. Don't do this.
Don't do what? Bring him back out of retirement?
Don't do this. Stop wasting everybody's time. You're not competitive. Please stop.
Let me just tell you. Then we'll go back to the Boutte.
Go to the wide receivers.
Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to stay healthy.
Probably not.
And then from the sideline, Tom Brady will return to the NFL. And
same way he came in.
And I will still go 0-17. Please
continue with Boutte.
The kid's weird because like athletically he's all there.
Yep.
I see why Todd McShay had him where
definitely.
He didn't have him. But the man doesn't catch.
No, and they're easy ones, and it's consistent. It's like 14 or 15 drops over the last 2 years. It's too many. It's just way too high a number. And I can't get behind a guy dropping the ball that high of a clip. I overlooked it with Jalen Reagor, and I was wrong, and the Eagles got burned. So I say that like me being wrong had something to do with the Eagles picking him. It didn't, obviously. But yeah, no, I'm just not I can't get behind receivers that objectively just drop the football in ridiculous position and don't use their body to drop the football. It doesn't make any sense.
Like, so I don't know if it's like effort, but
who knows?
Like, you need to interview this guy if you're even thinking of drafting him.
Absolutely. You need to think about him, but that's about it. He's projecting at late 2. We have him late 3, early 4. There's just problems.
I think ESPN is a little high with that rating.
They've rated him very highly.
Yeah, I 5th round pick. 4th round if you interview him and you think you can solve the drop issues.
Right. Now, we got that out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Now we go to the top of the list. Now, I will preface this by saying the only non-negotiables on this list, probably in our mind, is 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And then after that, the list is whatever. After 5, really after 4, we don't have a list.
Yeah, we don't.
Just keep that in mind. After 4, there is no list. After 4, there's an amalgamation of confusion.
And to be fair, they say that this is a deep class. I understand it.
It is.
Once after those like first 3 guys, it really is pick your poison.
Our 1 and 2 are 1 and 2 purely based off of what they bring at this very moment.
Yeah.
And what more of a prototypical player is. 3's kind of in the same realm. 4, I think 4 may have had the most consistent tape.
Agreed.
That was why this player got to 4. 1, 2, and 3 were upside, I think, and raw trades. Honestly, and after that, it's what you need. Just don't take him in the first.
We'll talk about our number 4 wide receiver when he gets there. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see the guy have the most early success.
Definitely.
Depending on which team drafts him.
Definitely.
Well,
Certainly
start
appears
with
to be the
one.
most polished.
Yeah, let's start with number one, John.
So at the top of the board, we don't have a whole lot of surprises for you. Right now, our number one wide receiver out of the Texas Christian University is Quentin Johnston. 6'3", 208, with an unofficial 4.4-ish on his 40. Projected in the mid-1. Here's a common trend you're going to hear from us. Projected mid-1, we have him late-1. Keep in mind, we don't have a single receiver mid to early 1.
Yeah.
Not any of them. And it's that evident. That is evidence further by that idea is evidence further across the board by a Mel Kiper draft, which again we overlook often. But he's got 4 receivers in the first round, 3 of them outside the top 20. This is not a position you should be taking early. That's all I'll say on that.
Now let me push you a little bit.
Oh, go ahead.
If you were a general managing team,
yes,
okay, would you even draft a wide receiver in the first round this year? I can't imagine.
Not. I mean, you have to give me the team. Who? Tennessee.
I mean, like we both have a late 1 grade on him, so let's choose a late 1 team.
Okay.
The Buffalo Bills need a wide receiver.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
No, they have other problems. They would be the one team late that I might think about it.
Yeah, especially because.
But it also wouldn't be this one.
Yeah.
This is not the one they should take.
Some news we should probably mention because we are talking about wide receivers. DeAndre Hopkins is likely being moved, and Buffalo is the favorite spot right now. And there are
really good plan.
There are 4 other teams that are interested. If it happens, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we will, because that's how sick would that core be?
They'll find another way to disappoint us.
Their window is 1 to 2 years.
Yeah,
and they keep kicking it open a little bit longer. Good for them.
But Quentin Johnston, what is the first thing you see? It's the size and the speed. It's the unteachables.
He's got the uncoachables,
and
he's the only guy with him. He's the only guy with him.
And something that's very apparent, and I cannot stress this enough. Max Duggan is a terrible quarterback prospect.
That's what helped Johnston get to number 1 on this list, was the fact that he looked pretty damn good with an absolutely abhorrent quarterback. Terrible. Like,
you know how much I hated Sam Howell.
Yes, I do remember that.
I hate Duggan more.
I agree.
The
only difference with Duggan is Duggan can run, and I have a soft spot for the mover. But
I would never draft Max Duggan.
No.
I don't think he can play football.
I don't either. Not in the NFL.
Hell of a story.
Yep.
That's the end of the story.
The story needs to stop.
Yeah.
Stetson Bennett has more of an NFL future than Max Duggan.
Rather draft Stetson.
Legitimately. Like, Stetson Bennett has more of an NFL future than Max Duggan. I'd be shocked if Duggan comes into the NFL, I smell a New England Patriots tight end all over him. Like, they'll change his position and he'll play for New England.
Wait, are you saying Taysom Hill's coming back?
I could see it, but I would not give him a football to throw at all.
It's embarrassing.
It's not good. It's really not good.
I don't know how he was a Heisman finalist.
He sails short balls and grounds long balls, and his intermediates are like left, right, up, and down. Like, he has no idea where he's throwing the football. Lacks all the polish you could I feel like this is just turned into we're going to dunk on Max Duggan hour. But let's talk about Johnston.
Brock Purdy was better as a prospect. Is like, oh.
So Johnston has the high-end unteachables. He has them. And we mark down a lack of consistency. I think we're going to chalk that up to the fact that Duggan is throwing an uncatchable ball.
Quentin Johnston legitimately might have had the worst quarterback on this list.
Now, here's the other problem, though,
and
it's a consistent problem.
Oh, yeah.
Occasionally, Duggan will throw a good ball.
Oh, yeah.
Because
he closes his eyes and chucks.
Because even a blind squirrel finds a nut. And we noticed a couple of times where Johnston just had no interest in catching it. I'm not catching this. Now, there's been a lot of discussion about how Quentin Nelson has the body. Obviously, 6'3", 210. He's
Quentin
got
Johnson.
it. Great.
Quentin Johnson.
What did I say?
Quentin Nelson.
Quentin Nelson. Oh my God. Quentin Johnston. He definitely has the body, Quentin Nelson. Although he had a bad year. Quentin Johnston, 6'3", 210, obviously has the body, prototypical wide receiver size. And the discussion being had, like, he's going to be able to make contested catches in the NFL. That's great. He made none of them in college. We did not see one.
It was maddening.
Yeah, there was occasions where he would be 1-to-1 and just straight up lose the battle.
Yeah.
Often. I feel like people are going to hear this and think this can't be their number one wideout. He is.
It's a bad year.
Do you see the problem? The high drop rate shows it's not Boute's drop rate, but it's not great. Once you break like 10, there's problems. And Boute broke 13. Johnston, I think, is like 8 or 7. It's not good, but it's more under wraps. The high drop rate does show up, though. And like I said before, if you drop it in college, you'll drop it in the pros. It's a problem. And if Tina and I comped him to Drake London, which if you were with us last year, you know is not a compliment because we weren't big fans of his either.
I don't know what it is because he stands literally above all the other wide receivers.
Clearly.
Yeah.
There's talent here. The raw gifts are there. And if he can hone them, and keep himself under control, then they should have no problem. Whatever team takes him, he should have no problem.
This is a kid that it really matters where he's drafted.
It helps.
See any success.
It'll help.
If Chicago drafts him, I don't.
May God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah, and honestly, anyone who Chicago drafts, may God have mercy on your soul.
True.
The biggest problem with Quentin Johnston, and it's a problem that the rest of the class has, is I put on the tape, and I don't see a wide receiver 1 in the NFL. There's no play that makes me sit up and go, "Oh damn, I see a wide receiver 2, and if he develops, I see a wide receiver 2 I'd be thrilled to have." But if this is the top of your class, it's not a good class. I'm sorry.
No, it's not positive that this is the top end. Like, that's just not. It does not spark joy. You know, there just isn't. There's not a whole lot. I don't have a lot of confidence in this class. I have like no confidence in this class. How can you enter a class with this being your top receiver? I mean, that's fine. Some years are weaker than others at the top, and that's normal. But man, like I didn't look at a single receiver and think that guy could be a Pro Bowler. I don't think a single one of these guys is ever going to see a Pro Bowl.
I cannot get past the inability to win the 50-50s.
It's tricky.
He doesn't.
When you're 6'3", you better be able to win a 50-50, and he doesn't do it.
He doesn't.
Just hasn't been doing it.
How to use his body.
We're seeing trouble using his body.
We're seeing 5'9" corners beat him to the ball.
Beat him.
And let's stop talking about him because again, this is our number 1 guy.
Yep. But again, it's because of he's the only player on this list with both with the most unteachables.
Yeah, and
he's got
I'm gonna chalk up that a lot of his negatives could be solved with a quality quarterback.
True.
That is the hope.
On to the number 2 wide receiver, and if you people were with us last year, you'll remember we were big fans of a certain Ohio State product.
I have
named Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Yeah.
And he is number 2. He was our preseason 1. He ends up at number 2. Jackson Smith-Njigba caught 5 passes this year.
Yep.
5.
Yep.
I think if he played a full season, we would be talking about Johnston here.
Yeah.
And Njigba at 1. But if you miss a full year, it's gonna hurt. your stock. And this was the one receiver, by the way, that Kuiper had inside the top 20. He had him at 12. He had him pick 12, which, by the way, I think it's too early. But this is still my favorite, quote unquote, raw traits receiver in this class. 6'1", 200. There were questions about his speed, but he just ran a 4.48 at his pro day. So I understand it's not with pads and helmet on, but that's legitimate. And the fact that there's no tape in 2022, while it sucks, there are plenty of players that have had that happen that come in and play fine.
What's the biggest issue? It's the role.
The role. He's a slot guy.
Yeah.
He is so dedicated. He is so much of a player that you need to commit to the slot. I kept seeing it written and then seeing it said that he has the body type of a running back. That's not crazy to say. When he looks like a running back. And that's great. But you're a receiver. So there's going to be playbook options for him. I think this player might have the highest ceiling as far as going to a Pro Bowl, maybe, but I don't see it happening. I think we're going to, for the sake of expedience, JSN is a peculiar cat.
Oh yeah,
because the tools are there. He's obviously very skilled. He's absolutely going day one. I don't see a world where he gets to day two. And same with Johnston. I just don't see the world where either of them gets to day two. And I definitely, if I were picking at like 20 and they were both on the board, I think I would lean in Jigba, even though Johnston is definitely the number one.
Mm-hmm.
But I see Njigba's ceiling higher. Jackson Smith and Jigba's ceiling is higher. And I don't want to rule out the whole. I don't want to overlook the 2022 lack of tape because it's substantial. But if it was up to me, I may lean away from looking at that as a problem when it came to selecting.
We may have the best route runner in the class.
Potentially, yes.
Especially in the red zone. He was actually sick.
Very good in the red zone as far as a route runner. Really, the guy runs a very crispy China route. Destroyed a Rice corner doing it. Probably the best highlight we saw of him.
Great hands. Significantly better hands than Johnston.
Way better. Great ball tracking, which, by the way, I should say about Johnston, his ball tracking was solid. Ball tracking was good. It was sloppy on the intake. But JSN's ball tracking, I think, might be the best in the draft. Elite.
The problem with JSN is speed. Because he has quickness, but he doesn't have breakaway speed. And It's obvious on the tape, too, that
Daniel Jeremiah's comment was he's fast enough.
Yeah.
That's another way of saying he's kind of slow. He's not. And listen, the 4.48 at your pro day, that's 4.48. That's on tape. It's recorded. I'm not saying it's correct, but I'm saying it's what they have. So
it was one corner when he was like breaking out, and it should have been a touchdown, and then the corner just in like a span of maybe 10 yards.
They caught him.
Holy crap.
It was West Virginia, I think, is what it was.
Like he was 3 steps behind, and in the span of 10 yards, got him.
He came and got him.
Oh, yeah. Really, the biggest problem with JSN, and we've already said it, he's a slot receiver. You cannot play this kid outside.
No. He's done it. In the league, it doesn't feel like it'll fit.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like it'll fit in the NFL.
And he's kind of been overshadowed because he didn't get to play this year. It's not his fault he didn't get to play this year. He was hurt.
Right.
Marvin Harrison is who everyone's looking at.
A team made this comment last night. Marvin Harrison Jr., Chris Olave, and Garrett Wilson, they've all been teammates of JSN, and they're probably all better than him.
They are all better than him.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. For those that don't remember, Garrett Wilson was our number one last year.
And Olave. Oh, I loved Olave.
Olave was our 3.
Yeah.
Because we put Burks at 2 before we knew he had asthma.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's JSN. He's not falling too far, but the lack of tape, man, that sucks.
Wish
you had more.
Let's talk about our shot, shall we?
Yeah, so we're taking a swing here at number 3. From Southern Methodist University, Rashee Rice.
Oh, he swung.
He is a projected 3rd-round pick that we think you should spend a 2 on, because there is a player here. There is a dog here. He does not catch the ball clean. Doesn't do it.
No, he does catch it clean. He just forgets to tuck it.
Rashee Rice has a ball problem.
Yeah.
The problem though is that everything else looks fantastic.
Yeah.
He's got unbelievable body control. He's got a decent 4.5 speed, but he plays faster, obviously. Jump ball skills are fantastic. Wins the 50-50s.
Actually uses his body.
Uses his body. At 6'1", 205. He can chip. He runs a decent amount of routes. I think I saw him run like 6 or 7 of them. He is an interesting player. I think it was Lance Zierlein or Chad Reuter that wrote that he's, quote, enigmatic.
Lance Zierlein did, yeah.
Perfect word for it. Perfect word. Because he catches the ball, he starts to run, you're like, okay, this is amazing. And then the ball comes out. He's on his way to catch it. He catches a pass. It's a fantastic effort, but he kind of juggles it and then secures it. He's a fixable issue.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be focus. Maybe it's focus. If it's focus, you can fix focus as long as the player wants to be focused. Interview this player. Interview the hell out of this player. And if you come out of the interview happy with the results, take him in the second. Take him in the second. There's a player. There is a legitimate player here. This player, if we are looking, I'm going to make a really bold statement.
Mm-hmm.
While I'm not sure it will occur, and while I don't think it will occur,
okay,
about 5 years from now, we may look back on this draft and Rashee Rice may end up being the best receiver.
Yeah.
He may end up being the receiver 1 out of this draft. I think that's why our top 4 are what they are, and our number 5 is so odd. Because I think the 5-6 flip, the one you don't like,
mm-hmm.
I think that's the number 2 potential to be WR1 in this draft, as far as, okay, it could happen. This is such a bizarre draft for wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
Quentin Johnson is like the safe pick. JSN, it's a known commodity. Rashee Rice is a wild card, but definitely has the best upside. Like the upside on this player, if you can just get his act together, just mold it a little bit more, apply a little bit more pressure, you will pull a diamond out of that rough. This player has the traits. He has the grit. He has the tools. It's his tape, probably the most impressive of anybody we watch. Probably the most impressive tape.
We were desperate. That's because we did him late.
We were like, show us fucking anything. Show us any receiver that we think we can take in the top end. No. Who's this Rashee Rice guy? Okay, click. Whoa. There was something. There was finally a pulse. And that's credit to him. Yeah, not the biggest program. Yeah, the ball security makes me want to kick him. Can't help the program part, but you can help yourself tucking the ball. Learn to protect the football, and good things will come.
There's a couple of areas to improve on besides ball security. Route running is one of them.
Man, but that ball security is the big one.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Rashee Rice is pretty raw.
Very raw.
Places, yeah. It's just when we spent an entire night looking for someone who could catch a contested ball, it was only Rice.
It was only Rice.
Yeah.
Actually, there's one other, but you know who it is, and it makes no sense. It's number 9. But We'll talk about him later
Oh,
on.
you mean the other guy like more than your number 5?
Stop it. Continue.
Um, he's athletic, a lot more athletic than you think he is.
Yep.
Where it looked like JSN and Johnston were kind of just going with the motion. Like they weren't really like an active participant at times. This kid looks like there's real desire in
His
him.
hair's on fire. The guy's hair's on fire all the time.
Maybe that's why he's dropping all these balls.
Yeah. The guy is playing 150% every single play. Guy's a machine. Guy's an absolute monster. As far as effort. Effort's there. You want an effort player, it's this guy. Yeah. I honestly I love everything about this player except for the fact that he can't hold a football.
Yeah. So I don't know. Put some Elmer's on his gloves.
Yeah. Put some sandpaper on him. Like just you gotta get it sticky. You gotta make it happen. And now we go to number 4. At number 4, we have what I think you and I agree on is probably the most consistent of any of these receivers. And that would be Jordan Addison out of USC.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Addison. Another guy we have rated at a mid 1 with that they have rated at a mid 1 that we have graded at a late 1 to I'll say early 2.
Yeah.
Even though we have Addison as a late 1 grade, that doesn't put him over Rice. We don't put Rice in the 1 purely because of the hands problem. The hands and the ball security are a massive issue. But we also have him as the highest ceiling. We can't put him outside the top 3 when the ceiling's that high. Addison's an interesting cat as well. Very, very polished. Best route running in totality of anybody.
With his tree.
With his tree.
Because he's asked to do a lot less. Yeah.
Yeah, he's asked to do a lot less. He catches contested. He catches the ball contested. He's always able to separate. He cannot press at all.
It was very
5'11", 173 is pretty indicative of the fact that he can't press. Also runs a 4.49. There's a lot to be cautious about with Jordan Addison. If we're gonna grant Quentin Johnston points for having a terrible quarterback, not only was Addison playing with Caleb Williams this year at USC, but previously he was at Pitt with Kenny Pickett. The guys had 2 guys. Pickett obviously already was a number one QB taken. Caleb Williams is almost certainly going to be another one. He's played with 2 of them. I don't want to dock points because it's not his fault who his quarterback is, but it certainly helped.
I will say he was very quarterback friendly though, because when you watch Caleb Williams, the guy scrambles a lot
all the time.
Yeah. And Addison was very conscious of that fact of coming back to the quarterback to bail him out. Like you said, I think the separation on this guy is probably the best in the class. The routes that he does run, they were very impressive.
Yeah.
With how polished, how like smooth he was able to get into his breaks.
Clean, crisp. It felt the most natural.
Yeah.
Of any receiver we watched. It was very natural.
This is if you need a burner, you need a deep threat, or if you need a guy that like you can throw in for like intermediate slants or something like that, I would take him over the class so far because that is what he does. But we get to the point where every single one of these wide receivers, you have to take them for what they do. There's the most well-rounded one is Rice. That's why we have him at 3. But Rice
the most well-rounded is, while it's probably Rice, it's also probably Johnston. Because Johnston's uncoachables allow the lack of ability to catch in traffic was problematic. But again, Rashee Rice just drops the ball. Like the ball's just second. Okay, but my
problem with Johnston is he has a size and he doesn't know how to use it.
I can't stand that.
He doesn't have the size.
Personally, yeah, I can't stand players that can't use their body. Like Dorial Green Beckham was 6'5", 237, and refused to get physical.
Mhm.
Like I can't stand that. If you're gonna be that big, if you're gonna have that God-given size, you better be willing to use it. You have to be. Otherwise, what's the point? Why even be that big? Just be 5'11", 173.
Anyways, Addison.
Like you can control your fucking height. Just be shorter.
Be a short king.
Just grow. Just shrink.
Addison. What he does exceptionally well.
Yes, he does.
But it's also not a wide receiver one. It's a supporting role that can take the top off the defense or can take advantage of the fact that the guy across from him is getting double covered or the guy across of him has the safety on top.
Everybody here, you just got to consider the fact that there is no WR1 in this draft.
Yeah.
That's what we're kind of saying. We don't think there's WR1 in this entire draft. We think there's a lot of quality players, but I don't think this is WR1.
Now, I would love, well, actually, no, because I'm in the AFC. You would love to see Addison on the Bills, wouldn't you?
Sure. I mean, they've been missing John Brown.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is kind of John Brown.
Yeah.
It's a good comp, actually. John Brown. Actually, not a bad comp.
I mean, who's late in the draft?
The Giants. I've seen him mock to the Giants a lot. Since Tony left, this actually doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Tony and Addison are not. I don't love that comp because Tony's very much like short route, then turn it into stuff guy, whereas Addison is I'll run intermediate to deep. But
Minnesota's at 23rd. They'll likely draft a wide receiver in this draft.
Maybe not in the first, though.
Yeah. Jacksonville got Calvin Ridley. They probably won't do it.
Dallas may need one. And I know they traded for Cook, but they lost. Didn't they lose? Is Gallup still there? I keep forgetting about Michael Gallup. I know Noah Brown left. Michael Gallup is he's still a Cowboy. Never mind. They probably don't need to do it. Trading for Brandon Cooks probably helped.
It's I'm looking at this first round, and I'm looking at picks 19 down, the playoff teams.
Sure.
And I'm looking at a lack of teams that actually need to draft a wide receiver in the first round. You got Tampa Bay.
Probably not.
Do it. Seattle.
You probably don't need it.
Yeah.
No.
The Chargers.
No.
The Ravens don't seem to care.
Yeah, but the Ravens should care. But they shouldn't take Addison because they got Bateman. It's like it's a hat on a hat.
Minnesota, Jacksonville.
Minnesota and Jacksonville are both very possible.
But Minnesota is bringing Calvin Ridley. They just paid.
Jacksonville's bringing Calvin Ridley.
Jacksonville's bringing Calvin Ridley. They just paid the Arizona kid who did great. I don't think they'll go for a wideout.
Addison is Kirkish. Yeah. So it's a hat on a hat. Minnesota's a very good fit.
New York Giants, Dallas, Buffalo, Cincinnati, New Orleans.
Okay, so hold on. Giants definitely.
Yeah.
Buffalo, if they don't go with Nuke, definitely. Dallas, you really never fucking know. You just don't know what Dallas is going to do. Who else did you say? New Orleans? No.
Cincinnati
should not.
Philly and Kansas City.
Philly won't. Chiefs could.
They just drafted Sky Moore. By the way, our appreciation of Sky Moore
went through the roof.
Yeah.
We were high on Sky Moore last year, and now we're even higher after watching this crop. I hope they use him more because there's a player there.
I hope they don't.
What? I hope they don't use him more?
I hope
Why?
They trade him.
Oh, because you're a Raider fan. Yeah, okay.
Meh.
Let's move on to number 5. And there's like 5 5s.
Oh, yeah.
But this is where it gets funny. And I can already hear like the steam coming out of the ears of a lot of like NFL and college football fans. Where's Zay Flowers? And Dean don't like him.
Oh, I hate him.
At all. And Dean don't like him. I don't dislike him. But if I'm going to take Zay Flowers, honestly, if I'm going to take Zay Flowers, why do I not just take Jalen Hyatt?
That's literally my point.
I know. And because Jalen Hyatt is they're very similar. He's just faster. Like, and Zay's also 3 inches shorter. Zay ran a 4.42. Jalen ran a 4.4 flat. Jalen is 6 foot 176. He needs to add weight.
Yeah.
That's a definite with Jalen Hyatt. He needs a little bit more poundage. Zay is 5'9", 182.
Do you have Zay's arm length? Because it's an issue.
Is it bad?
It's 29 and a quarter.
It's not good. It's not good. I listen. You watch a lot of Zay Flowers tape, and you think, "Damn, there's an explosive ass player there."
Oh yeah.
And then you look at the rest of this class, and you think, "Wow, there's a lot of people that might be better than him. A lot of them, including Jalen Hyatt." He's not much further down than 5 or 6, Mr. Flowers, and the same with Hyatt. Hyatt and Flowers strike us both as being a little bit one note. And that's okay. But I didn't see Zay Flowers, unless they were in the red zone, run a different route than a go or a post. Like that, it's what he does. Hyatt, the same, but I think that was Hyatt's design because Hendon Hooker had the NPC on the other side.
Cedric Tillman.
I knew his name that time. Yeah, I didn't forget that time. I was just being funny.
I mean, Zay Flowers is probably a slot receiver based off of his size.
Sure.
He honestly could have success there.
Sure.
Honestly, can't.
Oh, Zay's tape when it's at its best is very, very good. It's very good.
He's fast. He's quick. He has a lot of passion to his game. He's explosive,
He's
and
got gas.
He will fight for that ball.
Yep.
It's just I don't think he'll win those fights in the NFL.
Right. And there's another player that we think fights even harder and is definitely going to lose more of them than Zay Flowers because of size. But Zay's
also dropped the ball. You forgot about that.
Zay's got to drop the. Zay does have a drop. He does drop the ball. I'm not in love with Zay Flowers at all. Ebteen, I don't think Ebteen would draft him personally.
No. It's just he was getting wide receiver 1 hype, and first round is expected for Zay Flowers.
And he'll go first round. He'll probably go first round.
That's a mistake.
He probably will. He probably will go first round.
That is a huge mistake.
I wouldn't do it.
The problem is we got a guy who is talented.
Here's a guy
who's talented but can only play against zone coverage.
He does just kind of squirt out sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just don't like him.
This is a very, 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 very tricky class. And this is an even trickier player.
Now, I just want to come because we're comparing him to Hyatt and why I think you should pick Hyatt over him. Let's compare athleticism because both of these guys are athletic.
Yeah.
Zay Flowers' combine vertical jump. It's 35 and a half.
Very high for a guy 5'9".
Jalen Hyatt was 40.
Right.
The broad jump for Flowers. 10-7. Pretty good. Yeah.
Very good. In fact.
Hyatt's 11-3.
Yeah.
It's just, why am I spending a first round pick?
Neither one of them went on the bench press, right?
Doesn't look like it. Nope.
Okay. I don't see where Hyatt is immediately overshadowed by Zay Flowers. I just don't see it.
I think they both have the same game, but I think Hyatt can also develop into more of a player.
Right. Ebteen's whole point last night when we were finishing our film is that Zay Flowers may have already shown us his ceiling.
Yeah.
And that's not a high enough ceiling for the NFL. Just isn't. So
Also, while we're on the Hyatt train, because Hyatt's are number 6, if you haven't guessed it.
Well, it's 5, 6. I mean, this is where the ranking isn't even a ranking anymore. Now we're after, we said at the beginning, after 4, there's really no ranking.
I honestly think Hyatt can deal with physical coverage better than a lot of people in this class.
Probably.
And I also liked, because this was something we noticed. Hyatt blocks, and he's good at it in the run game.
Does.
And that is useful, especially for a player who's not going to be your wide receiver 1, who will be basically, you need a guy on your depth chart who can, first of all, score points, make huge plays, but is also willing to get dirty in the ground game. That's a guy that sticks.
Yeah, he's definitely a player that I could see sticking on a team for a while. As far as ascending to that plane of I'm an elite deep threat, no. I don't see that with anybody here, though. I really don't. Like, Rashee Rice is actually the ceiling of that, if he can, get it together.
Now, I'm checking the combine stuff.
Okay.
And I'm checking the next gen stats for Hyatt. And I'm a little surprised he's not higher, because he ranks number 1 in athleticism. He ranks number 1 in combined score and number 2 in production. Hyatt might turn into like a very, like 5 years from now, we're going to be talking about Hyatt and Rashee Rice.
Could be.
Yeah.
Very well could be.
His player comp is Deshaun Jackson. Apparently Will Fuller is also thrown out there.
Jalen Hyatt's player comp is Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
Draft him. Draft him. People don't realize how good Deshaun Jackson was.
For what it's worth, Flowers is Travis Benjamin.
Draft Hyatt.
Yeah. I think
for those that don't know, Deshaun Jackson is better than Travis Benjamin. The more you know.
Let's move on to some people who deserve some love. But
they do.
Yeah.
And I want to start with number 9, actually.
Okay.
Because I've already alluded to him. There's a little receiver down in North Carolina by the name of Josh Downs. Another player. Right. A player that we also have another full round grade better than the consensus.
Yeah.
We have him as a 2. They have projected him as a 3. Now, here's where I agree with the 3. He's small. He's really, really small. And he looks very, very small. 5'9", 171. You have to assume that he can run, and he can, a 4.48. He is slot only, and if you use him on the outside, I don't know what the hell you're doing. But he's probably like 10 or 15 years late to the NFL, because this slot role is not a constant on a lot of teams anymore. Now, here's where we think he's a 2. He is 5'9". The man plays 7'10". That man has no fear.
He has a better vertical.
No fear.
At 38.5 than Zay.
Better than Zay.
And a broad jump of 10-11.
Also better than Zay.
Now, this is a guy that,
here's a guy.
He's him, John.
I told him, Teen, if you write in these notes, we use a shared document. He's like, if I told him, if you put anywhere in these notes, either he's him, ranks anybody as mid, or refers to any of them as having that dog in them, I'm going to have a problem.
And right after we said that, we watched Josh Downs tape. And John,
he's him.
He has that dog in him.
I said it to him. I was like, he do got that dog in him.
Yeah,
he does. He's bringing the gas.
Very tough player. Very bursty.
Tough.
Yeah,
so tough.
Also good in the red zone. By the way, while we were watching this, we understand his quarterback is going top 2 next year.
So we noticed something, and I'm I'm a pretty consistent. I've been a pretty consistent detractor of Drake May. Just as a little sneak peek into next year, he's got an arm, and he's smooth, like butter. But he also does really stupid shit sometimes. So I'm watching him like, ooh, consistent, gorgeous throwing motion. Oh my, oh, what the fuck was that? Why? What did you just do? Like, there's so many. There's like for every 5 great plays, there's like 2 where he goes fully brain neutral.
Oh yeah.
So, but anyway, that's
while we're talking about quarterback. Bryce Young's pro day was today, and apparently he was impressive. Should have thrown at the combine. Just saying.
He had one of those Zach Wilson throws where he was falling back and like rifled it downfield, and I was like, "Where have I seen that before?"
No, apparently what they loved so much about it was his throwing motion, and like he released the ball a lot higher than they expected, or something like that.
Who, Bryce or Wilson?
Bryce Young.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't fucking care about Zach Wilson.
How much higher can he throw it with at 5'10"?
Apparently they don't think like he doesn't play small, John.
Quarterback, he plays small.
Anyways, Josh Downs.
Get real.
Very confident player. Love him in the slot. A lot of slot guys this year.
Yep.
I honestly
this would have been a really good class in 2006.
Yeah. His player comp is Kadarius Toney.
I see it.
I don't see the personality issues.
No, yeah. I don't see that.
But yeah, I think this is a guy that in the intermediate game is going to eat in the NFL.
Now let's go from small guy to much bigger guy.
Okay.
Jonathan Mingo out of Ole Miss. They have him at a 4. Yeah, probably a 4. But he's 6'2", 220. Love it. 4.46. Love it. He also weirdly plays in the slot. That's a body for the outside. Like he can go out if they want him to.
Who needs more slot? We need more.
But he runs easy. He runs real easy.
Oh, it was noticeable too. Long strides. Long
strides, running easy, solid on the routes, but he's a deep threat mostly. You know, that's what I'm seeing a lot this year is, are you fast? Yes. First round pick. Everybody is the Raiders. Darius Hayward-Bay would still be like the 5th best receiver in this class.
Darius Hayward-Bay might be more than the 5th best wide receiver in this class.
That's still the most head scratch. It's one of the most head scratching draft picks I've ever seen in my life.
Really? Because I've seen worse recently.
I don't know. Michael Crabtree is right fucking there, and you take the consensus number 4 wide receiver.
Yep.
Crabtree was touted as a can't miss wide receiver prospect, and you missed him intentionally.
Al Davis, baby.
Can he run fast and constantly? I'm also going to draft Jacoby Ford in like the 4th.
He did run fast. You know who also ran fast? Do you remember Denarius Moore?
Yes.
Oh God, he ran fast.
Yeah. He didn't suck either.
No, he did. I liked him. Yeah.
He was okay. He didn't suck. He had that every time he'd call him, he'd do this. Which I liked that. That was cool. Anyway, Jonathan Mingo, again, this is another one of those like complete, like this is a prototypical wide receiver, so draft him because there's only like 3 of those in this draft. Everyone else is like, okay, but he's tall, he's small. It's like he does these good things, but he's small.
Maybe everyone was just getting smaller.
Jonathan Mingo is like, he doesn't do anything that well, but he's the right size. Like I don't know.
By the way, whoever does draft him, be prepared for the next 4 years to hear bingo, Mingo, first down.
We saw that
Mingo, touchdown.
Yeah, if Barcavius Mingo had been less of a creep and a better football player, then do you know the story about that?
I don't know the story about him being a creep.
Oh.
Was he going after underage girls?
Underage part is correct.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, there was a story about that. I don't want to talk about it too deeply because I don't remember if it was refuted or thrown out. But there was something.
Before we dig ourselves into a bigger hole.
Yeah, please. We may just not dig that hole. We may just not discuss it, which is perfectly fine. He hasn't been in the league in a long time. Let's go on to Marvin Mims from Oklahoma. I love me an Oklahoma Sooner.
Oh, he was arrested.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
I love me an Oklahoma Sooner. 5'11", 183 at 4.38. That's fast, ladies and gentlemen. That's fast. Projected 4th round. Yep. 4th round. Yep.
Yeah.
This is another dude that might transition to like purely being a return man. This is the better version of Malik Knowles. That's all I have to say about. I have no other notes for Marvin Mims. None. Do you?
I think I liked Marvin Mims a little bit more than you.
Probably.
It was the speed. It was a speed.
Typical Raiders fan.
Yeah, typical Raiders fan. He was also a pretty good natural runner. Yeah, punt returner, kick returner, good quickness. I see this guy basically his route tree will be slants.
Slants and go routes.
Yeah.
Slants and go routes and slants, nothing else.
Definitely not a guy that
Here's not a guy.
Yeah, here's not a guy. Definitely not a wide receiver too. Just saying.
No, he's gadget. This is like he's specialist.
I will say, this was the one that we were like, wow. Did you like yards per catch?
He moved. It was like 20. I think he had 20
it was
yards per
20.
catch or something. Yeah.
So I mean, when he hits, he hits.
And finally, out of Wake Forest, A.T. Perry.
I liked him more than I should have.
He did because he's 6'3.5", roughly 200 pounds, and runs a 4.47.
Yeah.
Now, he doesn't look fast.
Not on tape.
Not at all. He didn't look fast at all. But he's got long legs. Long-limbed man. Consistent. The name of the game with A.T. Perry was consistency.
Now, here's my problem with A.T. Perry.
Go ahead.
He's 6'3".
Yes.
Now, we've talked a lot about vertical jumps today.
What is it?
It's only 35.
It's not good enough, A.T. Perry.
But then his broad jump's 11.1.
I don't understand you, A.T. Perry.
The biggest positive with A.T. Perry, and John's like, well, yeah, of course, he's from Wake Forest. Watching his tape, it really did feel like he knew exactly where he was at every moment on the field.
His on-field IQ seemed very high. His body awareness, his spatial awareness of the sidelines, what yard marker he's at, et cetera, et cetera. That's a skill. It's an overlooked skill, and he got it. He's got it.
I actually do think there's the potential for a very solid wide receiver here.
Sure. I could see a WR2 with this player.
Yeah, I do too.
You could. But again, I don't have them. You can't rank these guys at this point. This is an almost unrankable year for this position. It's sick. That was 12 guys. Could you discern, listeners of ours, which ones we just hated and which ones we liked? Because I don't think you could.
It sounded a lot like we hated Quentin Johnson.
It sounded like we hated all of them.
Yeah.
It sounded like they all suck. They don't. They're all fine.
They're all mid, John. They're all mid.
Only some of them have that dog in them. Now, what we didn't factor in was their ability to provide Riz.
Yeah.
I hate this world. Anyway.
Cannot wait for ESPN to give a story for each one of these guys.
What's our next stupid-ass position that we're inevitably going to...
It's got to be running back.
I was going to say, do you want to be running back right now? Number 1, Bijan. Number 2, who gives a shit?
Jahmyr Gibbs, probably.
Gives a fuck.
Oh, by the way, I just want to say this right now.
Stop it.
We watch the tape.
I can't stand that you're about to talk about this.
Jordan Addison's tape, USC tape. Travis Dye is good. We watched.
He showed flashes.
Yeah, we watched maybe like 20 snaps of Travis Dye. Yeah. And we'll watch more before we have an actual opinion. But what we did watch was good.
So stupid. It's funny. Every year we're like watching a player and then we see somebody else do something. Last year we were watching Wilson and Olave. We're like, who's that? It was JSN.
Yeah. And
then like the year before, it was like we were watching Florida. We were watching Florida to watch Kyle Trask.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck is that? It's Kyle Pitts. All right. Shit. Damn.
And this time we were watching Quinn Johnson, and all we could see is Max Duggan can't throw a football.
Man, can he not?
Anyone who thinks you should take him in like the fourth or fifth round, go see a shrink, dude.
You need therapy or Jesus.
Give up football because you don't know it.
You don't know, but I want to draft Max Duggan is a very good way to say I don't know ball. Anyway,
God, if that guy actually becomes a starting quarterback,
he won't.
I'm gonna retire.
From what life?
Yes.
We're not paid for this yet. There's something to retire from. Anyway, we'll be back next time with. I think weren't we gonna do a hybrid episode of running backs with somebody?
Oh yeah, with tight ends because tight ends are apparently sick.
It's a sick tight end class and like an okay running back class.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna mesh them. They're gonna have a shared episode.
You might hear next week that we like a tight end as the wide receiver one more.
Potentially.
Happen, yeah.
Dalton Kincaid. I like Kincaid's name so far. Just as a sneak peek. We'll be back next time. I'm not going to say next week because it's going to be shorter than that.
Yeah, we'll be back very shortly.
We'll be back very soon. Keep your eyes peeled and your ears open.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Don't draft Max Duggan.
Don't draft Max Duggan. Don't
That's
draft.
That's gonna be the title of the quarterback draft. It's gonna be literally "Don't draft Max."
We already said bye, and we're still talking.
I know.
Actually bye.